Okay. Let's look at something. So in your Aikido Tesabaki, you will always have some built-in yin yields. Those yin yields are going to be used for you to measure and adapt to the yang value of his energy. Okay, so for example, if you watch my hands, stop. If you watch my hands, they're going to do various types of circle movements. And if you watch my shoulders, I won't do my hands, but you watch my shoulders are making my hands move both forward or back or in or out. And you add that, it gets pretty dynamic, okay? As opposed to I'm here like this, he grabs, and you're just here and you're trying to do these things. It never really changes the relationship that we have initially. So as I do my Tesabaki, there's a yield. So we'll look at this hand. Even though it's going forward, it's yielding because it's coming on the inside. I'm going to come on the inside. So I come on the inside, you see? And then the same thing as this hand is coming this way, you see that it's going back, okay? So, boom. Some systems will do it pretty dynamically in the wrist only, okay? So let's say that he's doing some sort of push, right? And you'll see movements like that, boom. And in that motion, do you see how I have his center in that motion? We just do it with our body as opposed to just my wrist moves, okay? My whole body moves, but again, here I have his center again. I used it. So that's why you can't project from there, because in that moment you've gathered his center. Sometimes it's very small. It's very small and it looks like I just went forward. But it's very small instead. It can be big. I want you to pay attention to that little yield that always happens. Boom, pop. It's the same thing here that we were doing the other day. Here, I went on the outside, there's my yield, and now I know his yang value and I match it. You kind of do it internally too, and that's a higher skill. So here I'm doing those yields with a mixture. So as I'm moving my hand into a yin yield, I am alchemically, energetically matching his yang value so that I get his center at the end of it. But you can't do it internally. So it looks like I'm going forward, but it's happening internally. So even as I'm going back like this to do it, I internally, as he's pushing, it's not that I'm getting out of the way and trying to do something. It's internally, his energy is going past me, okay? And as it's going past me, eventually I'll have it, and then you'll have his center. Internal. Mixture. Now, there's a reason why, in my opinion, Aikido doesn't just do internal, although some other arts do, okay? And the reason being, so if we're internal, it's true that I have his center, that is true, and it is true that I can project him from here. So what I mean is, so keep your grip. As I have him here, I can move that center around. Well, likewise, I can project it too. Boom. You can pull it too. As you're using your friction, you can pull it. But what we want is, I'm going to do all of those things, not in so linear a way, but I'm going to start this rotation. Which isn't me just moving on the outside of him. It's inside, so the same thing, you can project, you can move him. You can move him towards you. But we're going to use that seizure to take him into a turn. But that turn is not an external turn. No matter how much you make it look like it's something, it's not external. It's the same exact thing, which is why you can do it from there. You can still do it. In the same way, you can do your technique, it's still doing the same thing. You capture on contact. It's not that I'm around here. That's different. Okay? Just play with it. So when you're standing, you can do this. You can do a lot of those yields with an actual step, with the weight shift. Okay? So you combine the two. Boom. Just remember that if you don't have the geometry for falling, you're not going to get your rolls, okay? For this exercise, doesn't matter. You have just training now. Just training now. When you're rolling, you gotta get. You gotta get into that kazushi pattern. So there's my yield, but it's not that I'm just getting out of the way. Oh, you're moving his center. Moving his center. Moving his center.